In 2008, while Tesla was making headlines with its sleek electric sports car, a little-known Chinese company called BYD was fighting just to be seen. Their cars looked like Toyota copies, cheap, uninspired, and invisible beyond China's borders.
BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh?
Have you seen their car?
And honestly, it wasn't a crazy reaction. Back then, nobody could have predicted what would happen next. Somehow, that underdog is now the global EV king, selling over 4 million vehicles a year, and leaving even Tesla trailing behind. This story isn't just about building electric cars. It's a story of government backing, relentless ambition, and a strategy so aggressive it forced the world to stop laughing. This is how BYD overtook Tesla. Before BYD became a global force in the electric vehicle market, it was just a small startup in Shenzhen, China, with a simple but ambitious goal to build better batteries. In 1995, a young chemist named Wang Chuanfu saw an opportunity. At the time, the battery industry was dominated by Japanese and Korean manufacturers who produced high-quality but expensive batteries. Wang, however, had a different approach. What if you could make batteries just as good, but at a lower cost? With just 20 employees and a relentless work ethic, Wang built BYD from the ground up. His strategy was mass production at a lower cost. Instead of relying on expensive, automated factories like the competition, BYD used a labor-intensive approach, leveraging China's vast workforce to assemble batteries more affordably. This allowed them to undercut competitors without sacrificing quality. It worked. BYD quickly became one of the largest battery suppliers in the world, providing lithium-ion batteries to the mobile industry, right as the mobile phone revolution was taking off. By the early 2000s, BYD had conquered the battery market. They were supplying lithium-ion batteries to tech giants like Motorola and Nokia. But Wang wasn't satisfied. He saw an even bigger opportunity: cars. But here's the thing. BYD had no experience building cars. So, in 2003, they purchased Xi'an Qinchuan Automobile, a struggling state-owned automaker, for 269 million yuan. At the same time, across the Pacific Ocean, another company was taking shape: Tesla. While BYD was buying up an old, failing Chinese automaker, Tesla was being founded in 2003 in Silicon Valley. Unlike BYD, Tesla wasn't interested in gasoline cars at all. Elon Musk wasn't even involved yet. Tesla was founded by engineers Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning with one goal: to make high-performance electric sports cars. Tesla was playing the premium game, designing sleek, futuristic EVs for the wealthy. Meanwhile, BYD was playing a completely different game. They were selling cheap gasoline-powered cars that looked very similar to Toyota's. But it wasn't smooth sailing at first. Their first prototype, code-named the 316, was so poorly designed that even dealers refused to touch it. Wang, realizing the disaster, personally smashed the prototype into pieces. A dramatic move, but a necessary one. Instead, BYD pivoted to a new model, BYD F3. Launched in 2005, it looked suspiciously similar to a Toyota Corolla, but was priced at just 73,000 yuan, approximately $10,000, making it significantly more affordable. And that made all the difference. Chinese consumers loved it. In its first year, BYD sold over 63,000 units. By June 2007, just 20 months after production began, the 100,000th F3 rolled off the assembly line. Following this success, BYD took the next step. In August 2007, they launched a larger sedan, BYD F6. While still borrowing design elements from Japanese automakers, the F6 helped them expand their lineup and appeal to more consumers. Initially, they relied on Chinese-built Mitsubishi engines, but within a few years they began developing their own in-house engines by improving Mitsubishi's blueprints. But their success was only domestic. Outside of their home market, the F3 and F6 struggled to gain traction, as global consumers remained skeptical of an unfamiliar Chinese automaker. BYD wasn't yet ready to take on the international stage, and Wang knew that gasoline cars alone wouldn't secure BYD's future. If the company wanted to stand out, it had to look beyond combustion engines and into the next frontier: electric vehicles. BYD's transition into electric vehicles didn't happen overnight. In fact, their first attempt failed before they even started. At the 2004 Beijing Auto Show, alongside its gasoline-powered models, BYD unveiled the Flyer EF3, its first electric sedan. Based on the BYD Flyer, it was intended to serve as an electric taxi in Shenzhen, with production set for 2005. But the plan never became a reality. Still determined, they tried again. In 2006, at the Beijing Auto Show, they introduced the BYD F3e, an all-electric version of the F3 sedan. This time, it was more ambitious, offering over 300 kilometers of range. The company planned for production within 3 years, but once again, it never made it to market. A BYD executive confirmed that the F3e had been cancelled, citing a lack of charging infrastructure as a major obstacle. But instead of giving up, they doubled down. In 2006, they established the Electric Vehicle Research Institute, marking a clear shift toward new energy vehicles. Wang wasn't thinking small. He didn't just want to build electric cars. He wanted to build an entire EV ecosystem. From battery electric vehicles to plug-in hybrids, BYD was gearing up for a much bigger play. In March 2008, they took a bold step into the EV market by introducing the F3DM, a plug-in hybrid version of the F3 sedan. Unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show, it was officially the world's first production plug-in hybrid. At the same time, Tesla was making waves with the Roadster, a sleek, all-electric sports car that proved EVs could be both fast and desirable. But while both companies were pioneering plug-in technology, their paths couldn't have been more different. Tesla's high-performance Roadster quickly captured global attention, selling around 2,450 units in over 30 countries. It even benefited from government incentives across multiple nations, helping it gain traction in the luxury market. BYD, on the other hand, struggled. The F3DM wasn't available to the public right away. It was initially sold only to government agencies, banks, and institutions in China. Retail sales didn't even begin until 2010, and even then, it failed to take off. By 2011, only 100 units had been sold. As Tesla's name spread across the world, becoming synonymous with the EV revolution, BYD was left behind, struggling to gain recognition beyond China. But there was one investor who saw what the rest of the world ignored: Warren Buffett. While BYD remained a local success with little global recognition, Buffett saw more than just a car company. He saw a battery powerhouse with the potential to dominate the EV future. In 2008, through Mid-American Energy Holdings, Buffett's firm purchased a 10% stake in BYD for $232 million. And with this backing, BYD had both the capital and the credibility to start thinking bigger. Rather than challenging Tesla directly in the passenger car market, they found another path to global expansion: electric buses. In 2009, as governments worldwide, especially in Europe and the US, began implementing stricter carbon emission policies, the need for cleaner public transportation exploded. Instead of trying to convince individual consumers to switch to EVs, they went after entire cities. BYD introduced the K9, the company's first fully electric bus. It was silent, efficient, and produced zero emissions, everything cities were looking for in a public transport solution. But it wasn't just about being eco-friendly. These buses were built for performance. The K9 could travel up to 305 kilometers on a single charge, making it one of the most practical electric buses on the market. Thanks to its fast charging capabilities, the K9 could be fully recharged in just a few hours, ensuring minimal downtime and maximum efficiency for public transportation networks. With low operating costs and zero fuel dependency, it was an attractive option for cities looking to cut emissions and reduce long-term expenses. And it worked. The K9 became one of the world's most successful electric bus models. BYD secured deals across Europe, North America, and South America. Cities like London, Los Angeles, and Bogota began integrating BYD's electric buses into their fleets. For the first time, BYD was no longer just a domestic success, it was a global EV player. While BYD was making quiet moves in the electric bus market, Tesla was dominating the world with luxury EVs like the Model S and Model X. With their cutting-edge technology, long range, and sleek designs, Tesla became the dominant force in the premium EV market, capturing global attention. At the time, Elon Musk didn't see BYD as a threat, he found the idea laughable. In an old interview, when asked about BYD as a competitor, he literally laughed before saying,
Why do you laugh? BYD is trying to compete. Why do you laugh?
Have you seen their car?
I have seen their cars, yes. In fact, at the Berkshire Hathaway meeting, I saw their cars.
Yeah.
Well, they are on a different, tell me why you're laughing. You don't see them at all as a competitor?
No.
Why is that? I mean, they offer a lower price point.
I don't think they have a great product.
But while Musk and the world dismissed BYD, China had other plans. BYD found its golden opportunity: Chinese government support. In 2014, China ramped up its push for EV adoption, introducing generous subsidies and policies that heavily favored electric vehicle manufacturers. With rules mandating that a percentage of all vehicle sales had to be electric, China's EV market exploded, and BYD was perfectly positioned to ride the wave. In August 2013, they introduced the BYD Qin, the first model in their new Dynasty series. A plug-in hybrid based on the gasoline-powered BYD Surui, the Qin was designed to replace the underwhelming F3DM and offer a more refined, consumer-friendly alternative. And this time, it was a hit. By early 2014, the Qin became the best-selling plug-in electric vehicle in China, proving that BYD had learned from its past failures. But beyond just being a success, the Qin highlighted BYD's biggest advantage over Tesla: affordability. At the time, the Tesla Model 3 was priced at around $44,000 for the base model, with the performance version costing over $54,000. Meanwhile, the Qin PHEV started at just $14,000, and the all-electric Qin Plus EV was launched for around $15,000. The price gap was staggering. While Tesla positioned itself as a premium brand, offering high-performance EVs with advanced features, BYD focused on budget-conscious consumers, delivering practical, affordable electric and hybrid vehicles that appealed to the mass market. With the right mix of affordability, improved technology, and government incentives, the Qin marked BYD's true arrival in the passenger EV market. Before 2020, BYD's success in the plug-in hybrid and battery electric vehicle market was heavily dependent on government subsidies. These incentives made EVs more affordable for consumers and ensured that BYD remained profitable despite high production costs. In 2016 alone, BYD received approximately $1 billion in subsidies, which actually exceeded its total net profit of $750 million for that year. In fact, subsidies accounted for over 20% of BYD's $5 billion revenue from new energy vehicle sales. But the good times didn't last forever. Between 2017 and 2019, China gradually reduced EV subsidies, forcing BYD to stand on its own. The impact was immediate. Sales slowed down, profits plummeted, and BYD faced 3 consecutive years of financial decline. By 2019, net profit had dropped to just 1.6 billion yuan, a steep fall from its peak. But BYD wasn't about to fade away. In 2020, it made a massive comeback, driven by 2 key strategies: the launch of the Blade battery and aggressive vertical integration. The Blade battery was a breakthrough in EV technology. Unlike traditional lithium-ion batteries, it used lithium iron phosphate technology, offering superior safety, a longer lifespan, and lower costs. Battery fires and overheating had long been a concern for EV consumers, but BYD's breakthrough eliminated those risks, even surviving nail penetration tests that would have caused conventional batteries to combust. And it wasn't just about making safer batteries. BYD was making them itself. While Tesla, Volkswagen, and other automakers relied on third-party suppliers for batteries, BYD produced 100% of its own batteries in-house. This vertical integration gave them a huge competitive advantage, allowing it to avoid supply chain disruptions, cut costs, and scale production faster than its rivals. To put things into perspective, Volkswagen makes only 35% of the parts in its ID.3 electric car. Tesla produces 68% of the Model 3's components in the US. BYD manufactures 75% of the parts in its flagship Seal model, including the batteries, chips, and semiconductors. This level of control meant that when supply chains collapsed during the pandemic, BYD wasn't scrambling for components like the rest of the industry. It was already in control of its own destiny. And in 2020, BYD proved just how powerful that control was with the launch of its first vehicle equipped with the Blade battery, BYD Han. Unveiled in early 2020, the Han was BYD's most advanced and ambitious sedan yet. It came in 2 variants: the Han DM plug-in hybrid and the Han EV fully electric, giving consumers multiple options. But what truly set the Han apart was its performance. The range-topping Han EV was claimed to be the fastest electric car in China at the time. The Han DM became the fastest hybrid sedan in the country. Consumers were no longer just interested in electric vehicles, they were demanding them. The world was shifting toward a green, sustainable future, and it wasn't just small players like BYD making waves, the entire auto industry was transforming. And this was exactly when BYD made its biggest leap forward. Between 2020 and 2023, they went from selling a modest 427,000 vehicles to a staggering 3 million units, a seven-fold increase that turned the once struggling automaker into a dominant global force. By 2023, BYD had left many of its competitors in the dust, fueled by the explosive demand for new energy vehicles. In China alone, the shift was undeniable. NEVs accounted for 27.5% of total vehicle sales in 2022, a massive jump from just 5.8% in 2020. Then, in a moment that stunned the EV industry, BYD surpassed Tesla in global electric vehicle sales during Q4 of 2023. In that period, BYD sold over 500,000 battery electric vehicles, while Tesla delivered around 480,000. In just a few short years, BYD transformed from a local underdog into a global EV powerhouse, outpacing even Tesla in the race for dominance. With its relentless focus on affordability, innovation, and vertical integration, BYD has proven it's no longer just competing, it's leading. And as the world accelerates toward an electric future, BYD's story is far from over.